Hello and welcome back to When the Fuck Did I Become Old? And today's guest is someone who spends his time helping people prepare for what many of us spend a lifetime avoiding, and that's retirement. He looks at identity shifts, financial fears, and big life questions that come with it. Chris Daems is the founder of Cervello, a business focused on financial well-being and retirement planning. But he's not your average man. He's not your average money man. He's also the host of the brilliant YouTube podcast, What Happens Next, where he explores life's big transitions with curiosity, humor, and heart. So today we're diving into aging, money myths, the emotional side of retiring, and whether life really does begin at 60. Today, welcome, Chris. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here.
Joe, it's an absolute pleasure. I love conversations like this, and I'm really excited to just talk about what's really exciting about the next chapter of all of our lives.
Absolutely. Every day is a new chapter, isn't it?
It is.
It really is. But tell me about what happens next, why you started it, and what it actually is.
So I've got a client that started working with us about 3 years ago. He's a guy called Mike, and Mike was the head of R&D for a big motor company, big car manufacturer. And when Mike came in, Joe, he said to me, Chris, I know exactly what I need from you. I need you to tell me I've got enough. And when he said enough, he meant money. So, as chartered financial planners, part of our job is to make sure that people understand what enough looks like and build a plan to get there. Or if they're there already, tell them that they can make changes in their life so they can live the life they want with the money they've got. But normally people come in and say, I've got this bunch of pensions that I want you to take a look at. Mike was really direct. And I said, what I'm curious about, Mike, is how did you know that was the outcome you wanted? He went, well, this is why I've got a bone to pick with you, because you told my boss, Darren, that he could stop. Darren, frankly, Chris, was one of the only reasons I still go work.
Okay.
I know. And he said, if you want to do the same, you need to go and have a chat with Chris. So that's why I'm here. So anyway, I built his plan. He decided to work with us. I built his plan. 9 weeks later, we got him back in the office, and he said to me, so where am I? And I said, you're never going to run out of money again. He was really fortunate that he did well to make sure that he'd never run out of money again. He said, right, I'm putting my notice in today. And I got really scared. I had a bit of a sharp intake of breath, because he'd been at the same company for 35 years. And I thought that he might benefit from just waiting a week, thinking about the news we'd given him so he could make a choice. It seems a bit quick after 35 years. And I said, Mike, do you want to give it a couple of days to just reflect, breathe, and think about where you're going to go? And he went, definitely not. This is all I've thought about for the last few weeks. Now you've told me, I'm putting my notice in. And I over the past few years, what I've realised is when people come to see me, and you're not going to wake up one morning and go, you know what, I really need to speak to a financial planner today. I think people put it off.
Yeah, they do.
But what's interesting is we become friends with our clients. We become trusted confidants. We talk about a lot more than the money, or at least I do with my clients. So when Mike said that, I felt like comfortable enough to turn around and go, Mike, the money's going to be fine, mate, but tell me what you can do with your time.
Did you actually ask that question then?
Yeah. In the meeting, told him he had enough. He was putting his notice in. And he said to me, oh, you know what? I've got loads of DIY to do in the house. And I wasn't convinced that after Mike had painted the banisters 4 times, he'd find enough space in the next 35 years
to actually DIY for the rest of his life.
Yeah, exactly. Carry on doing DIY. So I said, okay, understand. When you decide that that's not enough, do you want to give me a call and we'll have a chat? Just no obligation, up to you. That was at the end of September 2022. 3rd of January 2023, I get a
So
WhatsApp.
end of September. So we're talking 3 months, just over 3
3
months.
months,
Right.
just over 3
Of
months.
DIY.
Yeah, I've not really DIY. It was probably acclimatising, and he might have only painted the banisters twice. I don't know, but he WhatsApped me and he sent me a photo of like a model airplane, Airfix model
Yeah.
airplanes, one of those, with a message that said, "Chris, this is how I now spend my time. Do I need to get a life?" Which I thought was brilliant. So I phoned him and went,
Yes.
"Mike, the answer is probably yes, but would you like to come and have a chat?" And it was interesting for Mike because we had a bit of a deep dive in terms of talking about what he loved to do work-wise, what his passions were, what gave him purpose. And what we realised is he really liked helping young engineers learn the profession.
Okay.
But he'd been promoted to a job where he was managing 400 people.
Yeah.
And through my network, through my professional network, I knew a guy who ran a apprentice school, a school for apprentice engineers. So I put Mike in touch with that guy, and Mike now works part-time, 2.5 days a week, not for the money, but for the satisfaction of helping young engineers aspire to be better. But then, and I've done this before, Joe, a few years ago, I had a podcast with my daughter on kindness because I wanted to be a kinder person. That went really well when I ended up writing a book about kindness, which is a weird thing for a financial planner to do. But the bit that was interesting for me is how many people are like Mike, how many people are going through this journey and think. And that's, don't get me wrong, the money side is important because it does give you the freedom to do what you want.
It does.
But it's not only about the money.
No.
So I created a model. I'm writing and publishing the book at the start of 2026.
Yay.
And I've interviewed loads and loads of people about the next chapter of their lives and making that the most exciting, compelling chapter it can be for them.
So what are you finding people are doing in, what are people's experiences of this transition or the next phase?
Yeah, I think, and again, I've interviewed loads of experts, but I'm also helping all of my clients, who the majority of which are in this transitionary period through this process. Here's what I've learned: there's an element of loss. Okay, so there's an element of loss of identity. There's an element of loss of some of the networks they used to be part of. So I've got a client who used to work for Lloyd's, and when I spoke to him last and said, "What do you do with your time?" he said, "I now do tours of Lloyd's voluntarily." So he's going to work at the same place.
Waving at people he used to know. Hi.
Well, but I was really curious, Joe, about why Andy was doing that. So I said to Andy, "Help me understand." He went, "All my mates are there.
Oh,
All my mates are there, and
and
because
some of his mates are younger than him as well, aren't you? So they're still there.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we spoke to Andy about, and there's a really good book about this subject called Bowling Alone, which talks about the fact that one of the best ways to build community and social well-being is to join clubs. And we said to Andy, "Well, what are you interested in? What do you love to do? How could you join a community of people who are in your boat, who love what you do?" And he very charitable guy, loves to give back. He's joined his local round table, and now he does charity work through the round table, giving back to the community. But he's found a new bunch of friends. I mean, thinking about in the round, so there's an element of loss, loss of social connections, loss of identity. But there's also a massive opportunity for people to turn around and go, "Who's the person I want to be now? Now I've got a bit more time."
So are you helping people do that, or is that your intention going forward? because you mentioned that the next year there's big things coming for what happens next, and one of that is having a coach. Is that what you're intending to do? Is to coach people into the next part of their life?
Yeah, great question. So my job, what I'm trying to do, Joe, is lean into my unique skill once I've
Which
worked
is
out what it is. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. Once I work it out, I might tell you. But what I'm really good at is motivating, encouraging, and facilitating.
okay.
So I'm going to continue to do that work with my account at Cervello. Continue to grow my financial planning business because I'm really proud of the work we do. You know, being a chartered financial planner and growing that business for 15 years is part of my next 10 years journey.
And I'll pop your contact details in the notes as well. So if anybody needs some financial planning coaching, they can come to you on that one.
Yeah.
But in terms
and I'm
of
going
what
to carry
happens
on.
next, go on.
So yeah, what we're intending to do is build a suite of services so that people who are going through that transition can get the help they need.
Right.
And that includes, and I'm really excited about this because I love a bit of technology, a AI coach that
Yay.
points you to the information you need exactly at that point in time. So let's say, for example, you're finding yourself low on a social well-being feeling. It will say, right, actually watch this, and this might give you some ideas on what you can do.
Yeah.
It will include a community. It'll
Nice.
include webinars with experts.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things we've found has been really popular on What Happens Next is information about improving health. So
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, what do you think? What's the greatest challenges you think people go through in this
Much
part
the
of their
same
life?
as much the same as what you're saying is, but I had a mutual contact on in episode that's out on the 18th, that was out on the 18th of July, Thomas Power, and he was saying, you know, it's really important to stay relevant, and he was talking about longevity and
Yeah,
you know what Thomas is like. He's highly focused on something. So he talks to his local Waitrose store manager, and he said, "What's the most popular thing and that people are buying?" And it's seeds, nuts and seeds. It's people are now starting to want to be healthier. The healthier you
yeah.
are, the more alert your mind is, the more you can do. And we are living longer, and things are moving at a fast pace. So yeah, health is something really important. Purpose is something really important. But it's also, for me, I'm looking at it from a different point of view. It's like, what the fuck is happening to me in terms of the sort of physical, and loneliness is a problem. Loneliness has been a problem, I think, since lockdown. So community like you're building, like I'm building, really important. It is important, as you said, find your people
Find your
wherever.
tribe, right?
Find your tribe wherever they might be. So yeah, that's what I'm finding, similar to you in where I'm going.
Yeah. I heard a really amazing phrase yesterday, and I was speaking to somebody about what happens next, and they were a woman in their early 60s, executive coach, doing a brilliant job, and actually she was facilitating an event that I attended, and I said to her, "Help me understand, like, because the good thing about talking about the things that we're talking about is everybody's got a perspective that you can learn from, right?
Yeah.
Great to have those conversations." And she used a phrase that I really loved. She said to me, "Chris, money's fine. We've got a plan. The bit that I'm really conscious at the minute of is my physical wealth." And I really like that phrase because actually we think of wealth in terms of just the money we've got.
Mm.
It's like
Mm.
wealth is multifaceted, right? You know, if we've got
Yeah.
all the money in the bank, but we haven't got the capability to spend it on the things we want to do that are going to enhance our life, you can have all the money you want.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, having a bit more of a balanced view is really important. So yeah, we're going to build the community, but you'll have access to a team of coaches that I'm building at the minute
Mhm.
who can give you helpful one-on-one support. And we're going to have expert guests come on the community and help us understand a bit more about how we can get fitter, happier,
Yeah.
healthier, and all that sort of good stuff.
Fantastic. So do you think retirement has changed drastically in the last, 20, 30 years since our parents retired? Do you think we're looking at a different way of retiring?
I think retirement's an interesting word because you think about how long the concept of retirement has been around, and actually, it's not that long. It
Okay.
came about in the Industrial Revolution, right?
Yeah.
So before the Industrial Revolution, when we're all working on farms and we're all doing different jobs, nobody ever retired.
We
No, we
just
just
slowed
didn't
down and did
stop.
something different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we just
Mm.
slowed down and did something different. But with the introduction of the Industrial Revolution, so that the factories could bring the new workforce in, a fixed point of time in terms of stopping work
Right.
made
Very,
sense, right? Made
very
sense
tired.
in that
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
I think now we're living longer, healthier lives. And we're not doing that industrial fact. Most of us aren't doing that sort of industrial factory
Mm.
based work anymore. The concept of retirement changes. Now that's not to say if you've been doing a job for 35 years and you want to stop, you shouldn't. But I'm not convinced that conventional pipe and slippers, sit on your
Yeah.
sofa version of retirement is good for us.
No, it's not. Well, it wasn't. I mean, it used to be the figures like some average. I mean, remember when my dad actually, bless him, didn't reach retirement age, but when he was looking to retirement at 65, I think it was then. Now it's going to be about 75 by the time we get there, but it's 65. It was I think it was the average a man lived after that was another 3 years
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
just retirement used to mean stop. So retirement, very much, in my opinion, very much needs. Not only is it motivating to reinvent yourself, but actually, as you know, the government is fucked in terms of a budget for retirement anyway, and we haven't got the younger generation to look after us as much as we did have. Therefore, it's important to reinvent yourself and to stay healthy. So I think retirement, I put that in quotes, inverted commas. I think retirement's a changing process. It's just like,
Yeah, I think we talk about retirement and what happens next only because people still search for these retirement options because
yeah,
that retirement's been part of the language. I think reinvention at a particular point in time of our lives to an identity that we really want to be
yeah.
is so exciting. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
really
I,
exciting.
I'm not. I am old. I'm older.
No, you're not old. You're
But
not old. Well, I mean, and then old is you're not old. I mean, you can. You're not old. So,
thanks, Joe. I
it's an
appreciate it.
opinion, isn't it?
I'll take that. It's all relative, right?
It's
It's all
all
relative.
relative, absolutely.
It's all relative. But the interesting thing for me is 10, 15 years time when I'm at that sort of situation in life, I'm not going to stop. But what this chapter of my life allows me to do is turn around and go, and again, every rabbit hole I go down, every project that I start and build, it always seems to be about me learning too. So I'm trying to work out what happens next is going to be like by helping others work out what happens next is going to be.
So what is your what happens next? Do you know?
I, I, my motivations have changed. So if you ask me when I've started Cervello in my early 30s, it was about money. It was
Mm-hmm.
about financial security for me and my family because I
Yeah,
don't come from any money. So
yeah.
I'm sort of built a business that gives me that element of financial independence.
Mm,
Now it's about positive impact and
that's lovely.
helping as many people in the
Mm.
world to live the lives that they want,
Yeah.
regardless of where they are. And that's why What Happens Next is really exciting for me, because whereas my financial planning business is designed to help fairly wealthy people live the lives they want, it hasn't got that scale. And with What Happens Next, we can help so many more people. And that's what really excites me at the minute.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So, in terms of planning for retirement, then you still have Cervello doing the financial planning. And so, are you thinking that maybe you use What Happens Next to help people plan life retirement, as it were?
Yeah, but also talking about the money subjects as well.
Yeah.
So the most popular video, I think it's on 14,500 views.
That's the one I was on, obviously.
Joe, your one's just ready to go, right? It's just ready to like after we publish this, I reckon it's going gangbusters. Then our one will be the most popular, right? The one that we do. The most popular one on there today, is the one that talks about 3 steps to financial independence and how to work that out without somebody like me. And here's the interesting thing: understanding that you've got enough financially isn't about stopping work. It's about having the choice about the sort of work you do.
Yeah.
So if you know you've got enough, or you know you're close to that area of financial independence, it gives you a few more options to think about, because it takes the worry away.
So do you think more and more people are not stopping work, they're choosing a different type of work to do them?
Yeah, my experience with my Cervello clients is often they start to do the work that uses their experience and expertise, but gives them more flexibility on their time.
Yeah.
So some clients, that might be becoming a charity trustee. For a lot of my clients, they're non-executive directors of businesses.
Yeah.
For a lot of my clients, they consult, but doing only the bits that they really love.
Yeah.
And some clients choose to stop. It's just because they might get satisfaction from other parts of their life.
There are some people that are lucky enough to retire practically on full salary for life, aren't there? In some of the industries, I'm going back. Obviously, it stopped in the last 18 years or so, 20 years. So that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But there are some people that can carry on and maintain the lifestyle that they had and not do anything. But I think, I don't know, how do you think it's still important to have some kind of hobby or purpose other than building model airplanes and painting your banister repeatedly?
Not a euphemism, by the way. I mean actually painting his banister. The interest. I'll give you an example from my own life that I'll go through in a minute. So I moved a year ago. I moved house a year ago.
Right.
And I moved to a little lovely seaside village on the Essex coast called Leigh-on-Sea.
Nice.
So we live in Leigh-on-Sea. And I moved out of London, slightly further out of London, probably 30 miles down the road now, 30, 40 miles down the road. And I still see my friends from Old Church and where I used to live.
Yeah.
But I was really conscious that my social well-being was going to be lower because I wasn't as close to the friends I was in. So I took paddle tennis, which is increasingly popular at the minute. And I'm getting a load of stick at work at the minute for the fact that all of the admin jobs at work, at my practice, I delegate out because I'm not keen on them. But I run my little paddle tennis WhatsApp community with 40 people in. Now, I don't do it for money. I do it because I know that if I'm seeing people I like 3 or 4 times a week, it's good for me.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And if I'm in charge of organising it, I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, back to having a purpose or a hobby outside of work And that's
Yeah.
part of that should be part of people's retirement planning, is to have something other than painting the banister 4 or 5 times. Euphemism, it's not a euphemism, but other than doing that 4 or 5 times.
I can't imagine what you. I don't know what you. I'm too innocent, Joe. I don't know what you're talking.
Other than doing painting your banister, retirement planning isn't just about the finances. And you're saying you're already planning for extra curriculum activities outside of work. And
Yeah,
work is now
exactly.
becoming a bit of a sideline.
I think that's on what happens next. We've got a model. Okay, so the model has purpose and values in the middle.
Yeah.
So think about what you want your life to mean. Think about what brings you purpose, what brings you joy, and what you're good at. Think about that first, and then the model has different areas of well-being. So financial well-being is one. Do you know your number? How much is enough for you to live the life you want? If you're not there, what's the gap?
Yeah.
And how do you fill it? And that might be with the continued paid work, but having clarity in terms of where you are then gives you choice.
Yeah.
The financial well-being is one. Social well-being is another. So how do you spend time with people you love and like? Intellectual and occupational well-being is another. So how do you keep your mind active? How do you make sure you're excited and engaged about the stuff that you do that helps others? Physical well-being is clearly important. So how do we make sure that we contribute physically? And community well-being, because I know in my own life, and all the evidence points to, a life that serves others in some way, shape or form is a life full of meaning, purpose, but also makes you feel better.
That ties nicely in with Maslow and Anthony Robbins, and one of our colleagues, the lovely Craig Goldblatt, talks about Tony Robbins' 6 human needs, 2 of which are the spiritual ones, which is growth and contribution. So contribution to your community, growth to your intellect and your interests, etc. And the others are certainty, uncertainty or variety, love and connection and significance. And all of those are the things that, what keep the certainty is your finances, the variety is what keeps you sparked, love, connection in terms of your community and socialness, and significance. It's like, everybody wants to be important to at least one person, don't they?
100%. I mean, what I'm curious about, because I probably I love the insights we get on what happens next. And Joe, thank you for being such an amazing guest on there.
Oh yeah, thanks. You're very glad I could help.
You did. It was a brilliant conversation. But when you're talking about the challenges we face in this stage of our life on your podcast, what are the recurring themes?
So, interesting enough, we are at 21 episodes in, and we haven't got to a lot of recurring themes. So this episode is going to go out and it'll be about number 25 or 26. So the recurring themes are basically, we don't have a lot of recurring themes. But when I and my co-host went out and did the research, the themes are things that no one tells you about. Things like the sandwich generation. We're sandwiched between looking after our parents who are getting older, who need us, looking after our children that haven't quite left home, and we're still working. And that kind of thing is like, and then another thing is, who am I when the kids leave home? Who do I become when the kids leave home? And then that taken on further would be like, I've never had kids. Who am I now as a lonely old person? And who am I so it's all about roles and roles and stress and in people's lives, I think, are the themes that we started to address as we go on and explore. But this theme, getting old, is huge. The more I go into it, the more stuff there is around getting old that we just don't talk about. And so that's what I wanted to do is I want to, like you, yours is more sort of like coaching and stuff. Mine's more about information. Mine's more about, it is a community of like, what the fuck? How did you handle that? You know, do I get Botox?
I
Don't I get Botox? That kind of thing is like, I want to talk about it.
I found it fascinating. I did a video the other day because I think the perception, like when you, and again, I look at it and go, that doesn't look like any of my clients ever. When you see anything online or anything in a magazine about retirement, and there's just two really old people on a bench looking out to sea, and you go, I don't think any of my clients have ever done that. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, but also it's got this concept of a worry-free later life, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting, we did a video of What Happens Next, I think it was published 2 weeks ago now, where we talked about the challenges we face as we get older, because they might change, but they're still there. And I think we need to have better. Number one that we spoke about was being in the sandwich generation.
Yeah.
Because the number of my clients who have got mum or dad in care, and kids in their 20s and 30s, but who are still sort of need help and support, and they're in the middle. They're in the middle, and it's such
and they're
an
still working, and they're still
journey.
working. They're still trying to hold a job down and have a life.
Yeah.
And carve out a position for themselves. Yeah, it's tough. The expectations on you at that point are just really tough. Yeah.
Really. What's the one subject that isn't talked about as much?
What's the one subject that isn't talked about?
I know you like talking about the sexual side, don't you? And in terms of that.
I mean, it's beginning, the sexual side is beginning to be more explored. We have the lovely Esther Perel. Do you know Esther?
Yes, I love her work.
So
really
she
good.
started to talk about, intimacy and desire and the problem of dating. I think it is, I mean, we did an episode a couple of weeks ago before the guest who came on and talked about the penis ring. We did an episode about women and the effects of erectile dysfunction or taking the blue pill has on a woman. So in terms of, I was saying nobody talks about it. People don't talk about what's going on for their bodies because it's embarrassing. We're not allowed to say, oh, actually, do you know what, I'm menopausal or I'm postmenopausal, so I don't function in the same way as I used to. So actually, do you know what? Shagging for half an hour might actually hurt me. And the man will go away and take a blue pill and not discuss it with the woman because he doesn't want her to know. I mean, it's something that,
it's
it
just
happens.
the embarrassing conversations.
Absolutely, it happens. And there's so much out there that if you are discussing it with your partner, then you can have, it's more intimate, it's more playful. If your partner needs a blue pill, discuss it and have some foreplay whilst you wait for the half an hour for it to work. But rather than sort of like, right, it's ready, we're going, and then or the woman's like, actually, do you know what? I do need a little bit of lubricant. So why don't we play around with that? Why don't we excite me? That kind of thing. It's like, so I find that we are still not. We talk to, well, it's interesting because Thomas Power was saying we talk to Chat GPT more than we talk to our partner. Maybe we do, but we don't like to open up because we're still of that. I don't know, of that opinion that, I don't know, we should function properly and there should be nothing wrong with us. And sex is still a little bit taboo, but it's coming out. It's becoming more and more mainstream to talk about sex.
I'm of the feeling that if we just continue to have better conversations about this stuff, it's never perfect, is it? And there's always stigma and stuff, but you're moving in the right direction if you can sort of break some of those conversations down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've really enjoyed. I mean, part of my growth and in contribution is this, and I'm really enjoying it because I am getting my variety of life and I am learning all the time. So I love it. Now I'm conscious of time, and you and I could talk for hours, and perhaps I want you to come back when you launch everything in January in your community and your book and everything. So come back and talk to it. But before we leave, what do you think is the one mindset shift that can turn getting older from something that is worrying into something that is fun and you can embrace? What do you think the mindset shift, I can't say it, should be or could be?
I think there's a linguistic one. So let's stop talking about retirement and start talking about what happens next. That was
Okay.
really cheap.
Love it. Oh my God. God, you could be the next book.
And if you'd like to know more, what happens next life, and you can have a look at all the models and all the good stuff we've built on there. But reframing it as an exciting new chapter of our lives, appreciating it's got its own unique challenges, but reframing it as an opportunity to live a life that's probably closer to who you are compared to the one that you used to live. I had a really interesting conversation with a client a couple of years ago now, who said to me, and we were talking about the money, and he wasn't there yet. He was about 3 years away from achieving financial independence, but we managed to get him to a point where he was there. And he said something really interesting, because he said, I've been climbing this ladder for 30 years.
Yeah.
I've got to the top and I've realised I'm probably on the wrong building, right?
Shit.
And I said, okay, so what do we do about that? And his answer was, I've got the opportunity to climb another ladder. And I think we've all got the opportunity at this stage when we're thinking about transition to climb a ladder that excites us. And I am known as a bit of a natural optimist. I am known as somebody who looks on the bright side of life. Lovely. I appreciate that it's nuanced and there are challenges. Yeah. But what ladder do you want to climb? In this chapter of your life, with everything in front of you, what do you want to do? And what's the first... Can I give one other book a plug?
Yeah, please do.
One of the books that's really changed my perspective on it. It's a real amazing book called Design Your Life by Bill Burnett. And it applies design thinking, creative design thinking, into actually designing the life you want. And one thing it does advocate for is incremental improvement, but also incremental low-risk experimentation. So you can talk about this big, exciting new life, but what's the one tiny thing you can try tomorrow that's going to have a positive impact on your life? And that might be join a club. That might be go along to a meeting. That might be go along and have a game of paddle, although don't do that because you get obsessed really quickly. That might be take your wife out on a date. It might be anything, but what's the incremental thing you can do to get close to the life you want compared to the life you've got now?
Amazing. And on that note, I'm going to end. So just for everybody's information, I will pop the books that Chris has recommended into the notes. I will pop where to find him financially on Cervello, and I will also pop what happens next information too on my notes. Chris, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for joining me.